Some cities hide corruption in backroom deals. Others, it's their entire economy. From oil empires to rigged elections to literal billions vanishing. These are the places where power isn't earned. It's stolen. Welcome to FUmoneytales. Today we expose the top 5 most corrupt cities on Earth, who runs them, and where the money went. Let's be honest, when you think of government corruption, your mind probably goes straight to a developing nation. And often that stereotype exists for a reason. Take Afghanistan. You might remember in 2021 when the Taliban was sweeping across the country, taking back power after 20 years. Well, as the Taliban were knocking on Kabul's door, then President Ashraf Ghani decided to make like a tree and get the hell out of there. And he didn't travel light. See, U.S. intelligence believes Ghani fled the country with an estimated $169 million in aid money. That's not a suitcase full of cash, folks. That's multiple cars and helicopters stuffed with enough bills to make Scrooge McDuck blush. Now, Ghani denies these allegations, claiming he left with only the clothes on his back. Which, if true, is a real indictment of his tailor, because $169 million could buy you a hell of a suit. But here's the thing, whether Ghani personally absconded with the cash or not is almost beside the point. Because over 2 decades, Afghanistan received over $145 billion in reconstruction funds. And where did that money go? Well, it certainly didn't go towards rebuilding the country. Hospitals are still desperately short of medicine, schools are short on teachers, basic infrastructure is practically non-existent. But hey, at least the mansions of former government officials are really nice. Because while millions of Afghans struggle to survive, the political elite seem to have mastered the art of turning public funds into private fortunes. And Ghani, he landed comfortably in the UAE, a country known for its, let's say, flexible approach to financial oversight. It's enough to make you wonder, was the plan in Afghanistan ever actually to rebuild? Or was it simply to enrich those in power, leaving the Afghan people to pick up the pieces? From one war-torn nation to another, let's talk about Iraq. Now, Iraq is practically swimming in oil. We're talking about the 5th largest oil reserves on the planet. You'd think with that much black gold sloshing around they'd at least have paved the roads by now. But here's the thing. Millions of Iraqis still lack access to basic necessities like clean water and electricity. It's almost as if the oil wealth, which should be a blessing for the country, has transformed into a curse. And to understand why, we need to look no further than former Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. See, during al-Maliki's time in office, a staggering $800 billion in oil revenue vanished. That's billion with a B. To put that in perspective, you could buy every single professional sports team in the United States and still have enough left over to buy yourself a small island nation, and probably a fleet of solid gold yachts to go with it. So, where did all that money go? Well, according to Iraq's Commission of Integrity, it was siphoned off through an elaborate network of fake contracts, shell companies, and rigged bids. It's like a magic show, except instead of making a rabbit disappear, they made hundreds of billions of dollars disappear. And instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, they pulled out a big, fat middle finger to the Iraqi people. To this day, Baghdad remains a city of stark contrasts. Gleaming government buildings cast long shadows over crumbling infrastructure. Oil tankers rumble through the streets, while hospitals struggle to stay afloat. It's a constant reminder that in Baghdad, corruption isn't just a bug in the system, it is the system. Chapter 3, Kinshasa, Dr. Congo, the Resource Curse. Let's be honest, when you hear the phrase resource curse, you might think it's something out of a fantasy novel, like, oh no, the magic crystals that power our city are also slowly poisoning the land. But sadly, the resource curse is very real, and it's playing out tragically in places like Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. See, the DRC is insanely rich in natural resources. We're talking copper, cobalt, gold, all the good stuff that makes the world go round. Or more accurately, all the good stuff that makes smartphones and electric cars go beep boop. But here's the catch. Despite sitting on a literal gold mine, most people in Kinshasa live in abject poverty. We're talking kids as young as 5, forced to mine for cobalt by hand, earning $1 a day if they're lucky. So, where's all the wealth going? Well, under former President Joseph Kabila, the DRC reportedly lost an estimated $138 million in public funds through secret offshore deals. Now, when we say secret offshore deals, imagine the shadiest backroom deal you can, then add some shell corporations, a few numbered Swiss bank accounts, and a sprinkle of good old-fashioned money laundering. Leaked documents like the Paradise Papers even revealed that the Kabila family and their cronies had built a global network of over 80 companies, many of them directly tied to mining rights. It's like a giant, corrupt game of Monopoly, where one family gets to control the board, the bank, and all the best properties. Meanwhile, everyone else is stuck on Baltic Avenue, hoping they don't land on Boardwalk. The World Bank calls it a resource curse. We call it textbook corruption. Because when a country's wealth is siphoned off to line the pockets of the few at the expense of the many, that's not a curse. That's just plain old greed. Chapter 4. Moscow, Russia. The $1.30 billion palace of Putin. Now let's talk about a leader who truly takes the cake when it comes to amassing a fortune on the backs of his people. Vladimir Putin. Officially, Putin's salary is a measly $150,000 a year. You know, just enough to scrape by on in one of the most expensive cities in the world. But let's be real, nobody believes that for a second. According to analysts and, well, basic common sense, Putin likely controls a vast network of assets worth well over $100 billion. Now, this wealth is hidden behind a dizzyingly complex web of oligarchs, shell companies, and fake names. It's like trying to follow the plot of a Christopher Nolan film after a bottle of vodka. But even with all the smoke and mirrors, sometimes the truth peeks through. Take, for instance, the infamous Putin Palace on the Black Sea. This sprawling estate, complete with its own vineyard, amphitheater, and underground hockey rink, is estimated to be worth a cool $1.3 billion. Now, I'm no architect, but that seems like a lot of house for a guy who makes $150,000 a year. And the palace is just the tip of the iceberg. Putin's regime is notorious for its iron grip on state-owned companies, particularly in the energy sector. Remember those gas pipelines supplying Europe? Yeah, let's just say the profits weren't exactly being reinvested in public services. Opposition leader Alexei Navalny, before he was conveniently poisoned and then imprisoned, called Putin's Russia the world's largest criminal organization disguised as a government, and frankly, it's hard to argue with that assessment. Chapter 5. Caracas, Venezuela, eating garbage in an oil paradise. Our final stop on this whirlwind tour of corruption takes us to Caracas, Venezuela. Now, Venezuela has the dubious honor of possessing the largest proven oil reserves in the world. You'd think that with all that oil wealth, Venezuela would be a paradise. But sadly, the reality is far from it. While the Venezuelan people are forced to scavenge for food in garbage dumps, their president, Nicolas Maduro, enjoys lavish steak dinners at fancy restaurants abroad. It's a level of hypocrisy that would make Marie Antoinette blush. See, under the rule of Hugo Chavez and his successor, Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela has experienced one of the most dramatic economic collapses in modern history. Hyperinflation spiraled out of control, reaching a mind-boggling 1,000,000%. Doctors fled the country in droves. Grocery store shelves were left bare. It's like someone took a page out of a dystopian novel and decided to try it out in real life. So what happened? Where did all the oil money go? Well, experts estimate that over $300 billion has disappeared since Chavez and Maduro came to power. That's enough money to buy every single person in Venezuela a brand new Tesla. And yet, here we are. The answer, as you might have guessed, is corruption. Oil profits were funneled through corrupt contracts, stashed away in offshore bank accounts, and used to enrich a small circle of elites and military officials. It's like a giant game of keep-away, but instead of a ball, it's billions of dollars. And instead of children, it's grown adults in suits. And Maduro? Well, he's still clinging to power, blaming everyone but himself for the country's woes. He's like that friend who throws a party, trashes the place, steals all the booze, and then blames it on the dog. The real cost of corruption. These aren't broken cities, they're business models, power hoarded, wealth stolen, citizens silenced. From Kabul to Caracas, corruption isn't just an accident, it's the plan. This has been FUmoneytales. Subscribe for more stories they don't want you to hear.